Right now, as you're watching this video, millions of your cells are dying. Not from some disease or injury, but because that's literally what keeps you alive. So here's a question that might keep you up tonight. If your body is constantly replacing itself, are you still the same person you were 7 years ago? Or are you someone completely different wearing the same name? Let's start with something that sounds simple but gets weird fast. You think you're one person, right? Wrong. You're actually a walking civilization of roughly 37 trillion individual cells. Each cell is basically a microscopic factory with its own complex machinery, processing chemicals, and following genetic instructions. These cells have no idea you exist, no consciousness of their own, yet somehow their collective activity creates the experience of being you. Here's where it gets trippy. Your cells can survive without you. Scientists can take cells from your body, put them in a petri dish, and they'll keep living their cellular lives for days or weeks. But you can't last 5 minutes without your cells. So who's really in charge here? Now imagine this scenario. You donate a kidney to save someone's life. Billions of your cells are now living inside another person's body, following their bloodstream, responding to their hormones. Are those cells still part of you? Is a piece of your identity now walking around in someone else's body? What if that person starts craving foods you love or develops habits similar to yours? Let's push this further with a thought experiment. What if you and a stranger started swapping cells one by one? Your body gets one of theirs, theirs gets one of yours. At what exact moment would they become you? After 1 million cells? 1 billion? Or would this just be the world's slowest and most disgusting teleportation device? The reality is even stranger than fiction. Every second, between 1 and 3 million of your cells die. Since you started watching this video, roughly 250 million of your cells have already been replaced. In about 7 years, almost every cell in your body will be completely different from the ones you have right now. You're literally not the same person you were when you were born, at least not physically. But sometimes, cells break the rules. Cancer cells are essentially your own cells that decided to become immortal rebels. They refuse to die when they're supposed to and just keep multiplying. In a twisted way, cancer might be the most successful part of you, the part that figured out how to cheat death. There's something almost philosophical about that. Consider the story of Henrietta Lacks, a woman who died of cancer in 1951. Her cancer cells were so hardy that scientists could keep them alive in laboratories indefinitely. Over the decades, these cells have been grown and multiplied so extensively that they now weigh more than 20 tons total. Henrietta's cells have contributed to countless medical breakthroughs and saved millions of lives. But here's the mind-bending part. There are living pieces of Henrietta Lacks spread across research facilities worldwide, and she's been dead for over 70 years. How much of Henrietta still exists in those cells? Maybe what makes you you isn't your cells, but your DNA, your genetic blueprint. Except that's not quite right either. Recent research shows that your brain cells develop thousands of unique mutations throughout your lifetime. A single neuron in an adult brain can have over 1,000 genetic differences from the cells around it. Plus, about 8% of human DNA originally came from ancient viruses that infected our ancestors millions of years ago. And those mitochondria powering every cell? They used to be separate bacteria that somehow merged with our ancestors' cells billions of years ago. So you're not just a collection of human cells, you're a collaborative ecosystem of different life forms that somehow learned to work together so well that they created consciousness. This brings us to a profound realization. You might not be a thing at all. You might be a process, a self-sustaining pattern of matter and energy that maintains its structure while constantly changing its components. Like a whirlpool in a river, you have a recognizable form, but the water molecules creating that form are always different. When did this pattern that calls itself you actually begin? At conception? When the first human evolved? When life first emerged on Earth? When the atoms in your body were forged inside dying stars billions of years ago? The boundaries of where you begin and end become increasingly meaningless the more you think about it. Our brains evolved to see clear categories and absolute boundaries because that helped our ancestors survive. But reality is far messier and more interconnected than our intuition suggests. Maybe concepts like self and other, beginning and end, are just useful illusions our minds create to navigate a universe that's actually one continuous, ever-changing flow of existence. You are simultaneously completely unique and utterly connected to everything else that has ever existed. You are both permanent and temporary, individual and collective, human and cosmic. And that paradox might be the most beautiful thing about being conscious in this strange universe. What are you? You are the universe experiencing itself subjectively, for just a brief moment, through a temporary arrangement of matter that learned to ask questions about its own existence. Ready to confront the ultimate test of identity? In our previous video, you'll journey to a world that literally devours memories and watch brave explorers fight to hold on to everything that makes them human. Click the on-screen link or head to the description now to dive into this mind-bending expedition and discover what happens when the universe demands you forget who you are.